Hey folks, Coach Josh Wood here. Today we're going to look at a couple lacing techniques. We're going to start off with what's called gap lacing, and the idea here is this is a lacing technique you can use to reduce pressure on different parts of the foot. Now I'm using my pair of Lem's Boulder Summit boots here because this is kind of what I use for anything outdoors right now. The same style of lacing will also work with shoes or with boots that have the fast lacing hooks on them, the speed hooks. So first thing is, if you have a lot of pressure through the toe box and you're finding that your sides of your toes or your front of your foot are feeling really cramped, especially if you have lacing that comes way down, like you might see on some mountaineering style boots, we'll use what's called gap lacing, where we leave a space, and in particular, we're leaving a space at the bottom set of laces, bottom set of eyelets here, to reduce pressure through this area. And that's very, very easy. Normally your lacing starts here. What we're actually going to do is we're just going to start our lacing one eyelet up. And that just gives your foot a little bit more space. Let's make sure that's even. There we go. A little bit more space at the bottom to expand. So if you've got really wide feet, this is a very wide toe box boot. This is why I like them. I think they're fantastic. But we just leave space right here. Now, what we do from this point then is if you have, say, a high arch. Now we do have this little eyelet here in the middle of the tongue, which helps keep the tongue centered and make sure it doesn't slide under one side. These boots have a nice gusset here as well, so I don't really have issues with that. So assuming I have a higher arch. Now if I need my toe box open, I can still leave that bottom set unlaced, but for the sake of this demonstration, I am going to take my laces, start them at the bottom eyelet, and then I am going to leave a gap over maybe even just both of these laces here in case my arch is really high. I've got a high top of my foot. So the way I would do that is I can leave this like this or cross over. So I've got a little bit of tension to the bottom there. And then I'm just going to skip one set or two sets, whatever works for you, and leave that section, or wherever you're getting the pressure, leave that open, and then continue lacing as per normal. And I can take this all the way to the top of the boot if I like. I tend to leave the top eyelet open for casual use, but then I will cinch it up if I am actually carrying a backpack. So you see, we have a gap here, and this gap means that our foot can push up into the material and not be cut into with the pressure of the laces. And so this is called gap lacing, and we can also do it to gap over the toe box. And again, that'll depend on how far your eyelets come down, but just leave space anytime there is pressure on your foot from the laces.